All right, AP Calc, pre-calc, sorry, not there yet. You guys, we talked about graphing circles and semicircles and how we can use, this is sort of like our guide to figure out what they should look like, either semicircles or a regular circle. Now I'm going to talk about how you write the equation given certain pieces of information. So if you look at something like number 39 on page 102, the first one basically just says we're going to give you a center and a radius. So they give you the center 1/4, 0, and a radius of √5. So here's what you're doing. You're basically rewriting this with these three pieces of info in place of h, k, and r squared. So our horizontal shift is 1/4. I know it's already minus inside the parentheses. So if you've got a positive shift, a right shift, it should be minus inside the parentheses. Okay. The 0 would go in for k, so it's y minus 0 squared. And then you have √5 in for r, and that's squared. So you can kind of clean this up by calling this x minus 1/4 squared plus y squared. And any root times itself just becomes the number underneath. So there's the equation for that circle on number 39. What about when they give you an example like 41 where they don't give you the radius? Let's just do that over here. You're still given the center. The center is -4, 6. But they tell us that it passes through the point 3, 1. Let me just double check on that. Yeah, 3, 1. So what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to find the radius because we need the radius to complete this thing. So I'm going to rewrite this equation. Here's what I know. I know that when x equals 3, y has got to be 1. And h, the horizontal shift, is always -4. So it's going to have to be 3 minus -4, which is 3 plus 4. That whole thing is squared. And when h is -4, our k has to be 6. So it's 1 minus 6. That's how you find the radius. 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 squared is 49. 1 minus 6 is -5. -5 squared is 25. That equals r squared, which is 74. So the radius is √74. So all I'm doing right now is I'm saying, if I know the radius is √74, you know what? I can just plug in 74 for r squared. See, r squared's in that formula. I don't have to go and say that r equals √74. I can just be like, hey, see that? It's right there. See that? It equals it. Put the 74 in place. So maybe I can just use this one above. It's going to be x minus -4, so x plus 4 squared, plus y minus 6, because it's a vertical shift to 6 up, and then it equals 74. So there's your 41. Okay. Now what happens when they start talking about, yeah, it's tangent to the y-axis, or it's tangent to both axes with like I'm looking at 43, 45, 47. They give you endpoints of the diameter. They're giving you all sorts of info. Well, keep in mind, like on 45, that you can always draw a picture of what's going on to give yourself some kind of like establishment in the reality of it. Like, can I graph this thing to actually look at what we're trying to do? So if we're talking 45, we know that the center is in the second quadrant. That's here somewhere. It also says that it's got a radius of 2 and that it's tangent to both axes. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with tangents from Math 2 or Math 3, but a tangent is basically if you've got a curve like this, a tangent touches that curve pretty much at just one spot, okay? So if a circle has a tangent of the y-axis and the x-axis, then you can be pretty sure that these spots would have to be endpoints of the circle. Like it's only going to touch at one spot. So it's gonna kind of look like that. Here's what you know though. You know that the radius is 2, which is why I put 2 units distance here and 2 units distance here. I made sure that the two axes were 2 units from one another horizontally and vertically. So I'm basically centering it there at -2, 2, and then going 2 away, 2 away, 2 away, 2 away. Don't need my center point anymore. And there's our circle. Now, we need the center of the circle. Remember, it was -2, +2. And the radius was 2. All right, that's enough info. X minus h, which is going to be +2 squared because of the negative, x minus negative, plus y minus 2 squared equals 2 squared, 4. All right, I'm kind of interested in 47, so I'll do that one as well with you guys. All they do is give you the endpoints of the diameter. So you got 4, -3, and -2, 7. So if this represents the endpoints for a diameter of the circle, let's just visualize it. Over 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1, 2, 3. Left 2, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so really, what do we got here? We've got this imaginary line in which the center is the midpoint of it. So if we can determine what the center of this is, then we can say, all right, this distance is a radius, so I would just go this far and this. Well, I guess I don't even need to do that because we're not being asked to graph this, right? We're being asked to write the equation of the line. So once I get the center, I can then find the radius by finding the distance from this point to that point. So, sorry if I said too much there. Step 1, I need the midpoint between these two. So the midpoint of this diameter is equal to the center of the circle in question. So if you recall, the midpoint was just add the x's, divide by 2, add the y's, divide by 2, and you get 2 over 2, which is 1, 4 over 2, which is 2. It's 1, 2, which is pretty good. The visual on this is spot on. Now, how would we find the radius value? Like I said, just find the distance between the center and one of your endpoints. So you could use the distance formula, or you could just say, how about we just drop a right triangle and use the Pythagorean theorem? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. 1, 2, 3 units. And then this right here is going to be our radius value, because half the diameter is the radius. Again, you can use the distance formula, no doubt, but I don't know. For some reason, people are like, yeah, when you show me those right triangles, 5 squared plus r squared equals 5 squared plus 3 squared equals r squared, just seems a lot easier. Because now it's 25 plus 9, which is 34. And again, the r squared is in the formula, so I really don't need to find the actual radius. I just know that 34 is r squared. So our final answer is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Our h is 1. Our k is 2. And our r squared is 34. All right, now, okay, this seems like a good place to stop this video. So I'm not quite done yet, but we're getting close.